The Commander season just hit rock bottom in the worst way possible. A shutout against Minnesota, the franchise quarterback leaving injured again, and now a key veteran lost forever. 3 stories that changed the entire landscape in Washington. Stay until the end, because what's coming is brutal. The question isn't whether Jaden Daniels should play anymore. The question is why the hell he's still exposing himself when this season is already dead and buried. Adam Schefter, the most respected insider in the NFL, just said out loud what every sensible fan is thinking. Shut Daniels down right now, and he's absolutely right. Sunday against Minnesota was the definitive proof this experiment needs to end. Daniels fell on his injured arm in the third quarter after throwing an interception. The impact was ugly. Everyone held their breath. And even though the doctors cleared him to return, Dan Quinn decided not to put him back on the field. But here's the twisted part. Quinn justified the decision by saying the rest of the team looked off. Wait, what? That makes 0 sense. Schefter was direct in his analysis. He said if he were making the calls, he'd shut Daniels down immediately. The Commanders are eliminated from the playoffs. And after what we saw Sunday, that risk is way too high. Because let's be honest, this team can't protect anybody. The offensive line is a disaster. The receivers can't get separation. The defense gives up points like Halloween candy. Daniels has a giant target on his back every time he touches the ball, no matter how careful he is. And when your quarterback is already injured, those hits become dangerous. Quinn's inconsistency on this topic is alarming. But guess what, Dan? This team has been off since week 2. They're on an 8-game losing streak. Zach Ertz, one of the few reliable veterans Daniels had left, is out for the rest of the year with a knee injury. That's another weapon gone. Another target gone. Quarterbacks need consistency to develop. They need a clear plan. They need to know what to expect. But the only thing consistent about the Commanders this season is they get destroyed week after week. Daniels isn't learning anything valuable in this chaos. He's just accumulating hits and risking his long-term health. Schefter is right. The decision is obvious. Shut Daniels down. Put Marcus Mariota or whoever in there. Let the veteran absorb the hits while this ship finishes sinking. Use these last 4 games to evaluate bottom-of-the-roster guys. But protect the quarterback of the future. Because here's the reality. 2026 is what matters now, not these last 4 meaningless games. Daniels is the cornerstone of everything Washington wants to build. You can't risk that for pride or some abstract idea of gaining experience. Quinn needs to make a decision once and for all. Either you play Daniels no matter what, or you shut him down completely. It just creates more confusion and more risk. And the fans see it. Everyone sees it. Daniels' health should be priority number 1 for this organization. Nothing else matters right now. Protect him. Let him heal completely. Bring him back at 100% in 2026 with an improved roster and a real plan. That's what a smart team would do. What do you think about this? Would you shut Daniels down or let him play? Drop your comment below. And speaking of bad news, the Commanders officially confirmed Monday what everyone feared. Zach Ertz is out for the rest of the season. Ertz landed badly. He grabbed his knee immediately. Everyone in the stadium knew it was serious. Dan Quinn confirmed it the next day. Torn ACL, season over. It's a brutal ending for a player who's having a solid year. At 35 years old, he was proving he still had gas in the tank. In fact, he was playing so well, he probably earned himself one last big contract in free agency. But now, all of that is up in the air. Because let's be real, ACL injuries at 35 are tricky. Recovery is long. Rehab is brutal. And for a player who depends on agility and explosiveness like a tight end, there are no guarantees he comes back the same. Ertz could return. He could play more years. But it could also be that this is the last time we saw him on an NFL field. And for the Commanders, the loss is massive. Ertz was one of the few reliable veterans on that offense. He was the guy Jaden Daniels looked for on third downs. He was the voice of experience in a receiver's room full of young guys. Now he's gone. Who replaces him? It's an impossible task. This also directly impacts Daniels. He already lost Terry McLaurin for several weeks. The answer is nobody. And that makes the argument to shut Daniels down even stronger. Ertz came to Washington 2 seasons ago after spending 9 years with the Philadelphia Eagles and 3 with the Arizona Cardinals. He won a Super Bowl with Philly. He went to 3 Pro Bowls. He's one of the best tight ends of his generation. And now his career might end in a 31-0 loss in a lost year. For the Commanders, this is another reminder of how fragile everything is. One moment you're building momentum. The next, your best tight end is on the ground grabbing his knee. You can't plan for this. You can't avoid it. You can only adapt. But here's the question. How do you adapt when you have nothing left? When your quarterback is injured, your receivers are injured, your tight end is injured, and your record is 3-10? The answer is you can't. You just survive. You just get to the end of the season and start over. Zach Ertz deserves better than this. He deserves to end his career on a competitive team, fighting for playoffs, making big plays. Instead, he ends on a broken team, in a lost season with a devastating injury. It's a cruel conclusion for a great player. But if there's a silver lining in all this disaster, it's that the Commanders are positioning themselves for a high pick in the 2026 draft. After the loss to Minnesota, Washington fell to 3 wins and 10 losses. That puts them with the number 6 pick right now. But their odds of landing a top 5 pick jumped to 53.5%, according to FTN Fantasy. And here's what's important. The Commanders need to capitalize on that pick, not to select a single player, but to trade back and accumulate more selections. Because this roster isn't one player away from competing. Sunday they play the New York Giants, who currently hold the number 1 overall pick, which means the Commanders could jump positions depending on other results. One more loss combined with wins from other bad teams could put them in the top 3, and that opens massive possibilities. Because think about it, there are teams desperate for quarterbacks who want to move up. The Jets could offer a huge package to move up 2 spots and take their quarterback of the future. Washington could drop a couple positions, add an extra first-round pick, maybe a second, and still select an elite player like Caleb Downs. That's the kind of move Adam Peters needs to make. It's old, it's broken, and it's full of expiring contracts. The Commanders only have 6 picks in the 2026 draft. 6. That's not enough to fix all the holes. They need more ammunition. They need more swings at bat. And it's not just about the draft. Peters has massive decisions to make in free agency. Here's the brutal reality. Winning 1 or 2 more games this year means nothing. 0, it doesn't change the narrative. It doesn't save jobs. It doesn't make fans feel better. All it does is worsen your draft position. And in a year where you desperately need young, cheap talent, that's a mistake. The Commanders need to embrace the tank. Not in an obvious way. Not in a way that offends players or fans. But strategically play the young guys. Give snaps to bottom of the roster types. See what you have for 2026. And if you lose, perfect. Because every loss brings you closer to that top 5 pick that can change your franchise. And when draft day comes, don't fall in love with a big name. Don't take the best player available just because he's there. Be smart. Trade back. Accumulate capital. Build depth. Because teams that win Super Bowls don't do it with one star player. Peters showed last year he knows how to build. He brought in Dan Quinn. He drafted Jaden Daniels. He made smart moves in free agency. But this year exposed the cracks. Exposed the lack of depth. Exposed how fragile everything was. He has cap space. He has a full offseason to work. The question is he going to trade back and build for the long haul? Teams that trade back and accumulate picks usually end up better than those who bet everything on one card. Washington needs players. They need depth. They need youth. So there you have it. 3 stories that paint the complete picture of where the Commanders stand. Jaden Daniels should be shut down. Zach Ertz is out forever. And a top 5 pick is on the horizon. This season ended weeks ago. Now it's about protecting the future and making smart decisions. If you want to be the first to know the latest news firsthand before anyone else, subscribe now.